Hey friends, Sean here from smswilla.com, speaker, coach and trainer, the communication coach, and it's lovely to be back with you again. I hope you've enjoyed the last videos that I've been putting out there, and today's a little bit more of a somber moment, and I want to share a story with you, and I hope you don't mind if it's a bit of a Kleenex moment. But tomorrow, on the 31st of October, will be the 15th anniversary of my dad's passing. And our dad was such an incredible dad. Carl, Dave, if you're watching this video, I think there's really not a week that goes by in our lives where we don't reflect on our dad and the incredible legacy he left, and all the amazing laughs that he gave us, his incredible sayings, his incredible mannerisms, and what a man. As big as his stature was, so was his heart. And my dad was a big guy, but he was actually a softie at heart. And I want to share a little bit more about that with you as a dad, as a father. And we're very fortunate. Carl, Dave, myself, been very, very fortunate to grow up in the most loving household. Really, we really have been. My mom's still alive, bless her. She's 91. She could outwalk me. June, if you're watching this, you could outwalk me. They call her the walker, I think, at a retirement village, not old age home. Just please, just note that, the retirement village. She could really probably outwalk me at 91. And together with my dad, my mom just really raised us in such a loving home. We were so fortunate. When I think today as a coach, and as a speaker, I get to speak and coach to people who have grown up in a very different world to me, to us. Some of them never knew their parents. Others only really got to know one parent because the other one moved away or potentially passed away at a very young age. Some grew up in a very abusive family, either emotionally, physically, and just real tragedy. And I've got to say that from my perspective, we were very, very fortunate, very blessed to grow up in such a lovely family. Now, was it perfect? No, not by a long stretch of the imagination. I don't think any of us have a perfect scenario. I don't think there is a perfect scenario. I think everybody really just tries their best, and as John Maxwell say, he fails forwards. And one of my favorite quotes of all time is that quote that says, "He who's afraid of making a mistake is living one." We all make mistakes. We just don't want to repeat the same mistake every single day or every single week. So we make mistakes. We fail our way forward. And certainly as a dad, as a father, and as a husband, I've been blessed to be married to Michelle now for 29 and a half years. It'll be 30 years in 2021. And I can think of many times that I've made mistakes. I've fallen short of the mark that I really would love to aim and hit, but I continue to press forward. I think as a father, the times that I've had to say to Nathan and Tegan, I apologize because I've missed the mark. So none of us are perfect. My dad wasn't perfect by any manner of means, but he taught me some fundamental principles that, and isn't it interesting that when people are with us, we don't always understand this, we don't always grasp this. It's really in reflection, isn't it? Someone said that sort of that experience is really our best teacher, but someone else said it's the evaluated experience, the reflected experience. When we reflect on our experiences and we learn and grow and we change and we adjust because of that. And I think it's the same about life. In special relationships, moms and dads, I suppose, are really right up there with the most special of our relationships. And isn't it sad that in a way we don't necessarily always acknowledge the incredible qualities they have while they're alive? People say such beautiful things at funerals, but not to the person when they're living. So it's a strange thing. Maybe that's a lesson we could learn, to say things to people, to one another, to be brave and to be authentic, and not to be afraid to seem weak or too sort of softy, by sharing how we really feel about one another while we are on this side. this side of half time, as it were. And when I think of my dad, as I've reflected many times about the incredible legacy he left, and say, made us laugh, had the most incredible sayings, but there are a couple of things that really stood out for me about my dad. The one thing was, I mentioned, he was a guy of big stature, strong guy, the one-arm push-up guy at the party, chap who'd knock some sense into somebody if they were being disrespectful. But my dad, as I say, as big as he was, he had a soft heart, and I learned from my dad that cowboys do cry. Cowboys do cry. And he taught me that it's okay. It's okay to show that side of yourself. It's okay to be vulnerable. That's okay to show that you really feel about something or feel about somebody. When my dad gave speeches, I think it was at my 21st, and I think again I was crying, he was crying at our wedding. There were times my dad would just really let his heart be on his sleeve and be vulnerable. He taught me it's okay. It's okay to be vulnerable, for cowboys to cry. My dad also taught me that it's important to respect. He showed respect to my mom, incredible respect. And as I say, I loved watching my dad walk hand in hand with my mom. I loved the way he expressed chivalry by opening the door for my mom. I loved the way he served my mom. I love it. And he did it from a place of strength. He did it from a place of confidence, from a place of love. Never a sign of weakness or anything else. He absolutely loved showing respect to my mom. I really appreciate my dad. The fact that my dad taught me also the third thing, that it's important to say, I love you. It's okay. It's okay, guys. All the guys out there, I'm talking to you right now. There's something weird about the way many people have been brought up. And I think probably for the first few years of my life, I didn't really necessarily see that as much and as articulated as much in words. But as my dad got a little bit older and matured, like a good red wine, I used to say, it was like he became better and better, and just the most amazing dad, and how he would be unafraid to say to me unequivocally, Sean, I love you. I love you. I love you, my boy. That was his favorite saying. And sorry, he wouldn't be afraid to say that to anybody. Showed such compassion for people. So yeah, those three things are important. That cowboys do cry. Show respect, and don't be afraid to say I love you to the ones that are in your inner circle, the ones that you do love, the ones that you surround yourself, your family. Be real, be authentic, and don't wait. Don't wait until the funeral to say those things over people. Say those things now over if your parents are still alive, say those things over your parents. The qualities that you love. And there's always qualities that you will maybe dislike or disdain or whatever the case is. Yeah. That's easy. That's the easy stuff. That's the stuff that's written on newspaper headlines, and we see in the mass media. We see it every day in a scroll hole, right? The scroll hole. We see that all the time. Negativity is a dime a dozen. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to be a negative nanny and find all those negative things out there. No, it takes people of character, real character, and leaders to stand up and say a positive thing, to express gratitude towards somebody. So in his absence today, physically, but very much in our hearts, from my heart to my dad's heart, from our hearts, Cole, Dave, to his heart, we are thankful. And this is a vulnerable post, but I'm saying this because I believe everything I say is for a reason and a season. And there's someone watching today that needs to pick up the phone, that needs to write that note, to someone they love and express that. Express that vulnerability. Be authentic, be you, and tell somebody today that you love them. We miss you, Dad.